Several countries across the world have taken extreme lockdown measures to contain the spread of the coronavirus. But could that happen in a country as big as the United States? And what would it take? I'm chatting with Business Insider senior science reporter Arya Bendix over Skype to address some of these burning questions. So Arya, is it possible that the US could go into a total lockdown?
It's possible. I mean, we've seen them really implement stricter measures, especially over the last couple of days. Almost a week ago, it was limiting public events with more than 500 people. We've seen that reduced to about 250, then now down to 10. So they'll continue to implement stricter measures as we continue to see cases and the death count rise.
But what would need to happen for us to get to that point?
So there's no hard and fast line. I'm not sure that government officials even know. It obviously, right now, we're implementing restrictions on a statewide basis or even on a citywide basis. So it would be up to individual leaders to determine when either the case count or the death count has gotten too high and we're not implementing the appropriate measures to sort of contain the spread. But as we continue to see cases rise, we're just going to have to get stricter and stricter with what we do to try and contain this virus.
And some cities are doing just that. But what do cities need to do if they want to implement something similar to a lockdown?
So it's not that hard to do. We've already seen San Francisco implement a shelter-in-place measure, and that means that unless someone has an essential need to be outdoors or to get to their job, that they can actually be fined or face imprisonment for going outside for an unnecessary reason. That obviously doesn't include, walking your pet or getting to work, but and they're actually, emphasizing that they are going to be compassionate about these rules. We obviously understand these are difficult times, but it's pretty dire straits at this point.
So what does that mean for us? Will we be fined if we go outside?
Yeah, I mean, we have seen past precedent for it. In San Francisco, you can already receive a fine if you are going out for a non-essential reason. In Italy, we've seen that you have to carry around actually a piece of paper explaining your reason for being outdoors. South Korea has also implemented fines. I think ultimately, especially in the U.S., they're trying to exercise compassion with those types of rules if they do implement them. Understand that this is a difficult time and that people do want to have some fresh air, but ultimately this is a necessary measure to sort of protect public safety at large.
Now, this is a question that I feel like many in my circle want to know the answer to, but have some countries implemented these rules, but with exceptions for people with dogs or pets?
Yeah, there are exceptions for people with dogs or pets. We actually know that pets can't contract the virus, but we understand that they need to be outdoors to sort of do their business. So that's one of the reasons why, pet owners would have a legitimate excuse for being outdoors. They should still make sure to practice that safe distancing of 6 feet from another person. And it should only be just a reason to walk your dog and get back inside if your city has already implemented one of those self-isolating policies.
So Arya, as a country, when did we start taking this seriously?
So I just spoke to a laboratory researcher in Seattle who actually developed his lab's own COVID-19 test. And he was telling me that the U.S. actually started taking this pandemic now seriously about 2 to 3 days ago. And that was when we started implementing some of those stricter social isolation measures. It was actually also when we realized that we were sort of in the same boat as China and Italy in terms of our death count and the way that cases have risen. We probably should have been a bit more proactive with our social distancing measures because we do know that that's one of the most effective ways of containing this virus. And the fact that we've waited until now means that we might have to resort to more drastic measures in the future.